Hello, welcome to Toffee TV. This is the final word. West Ham United 0, Everton 1. Sounds delicious. Sounds lovely saying it. And to be fair, we've said this 4 times in the last 6 games. We've won 4 of the last 6, so things are looking up. We're joined by Dave Witts from the County Road Bobblers in the house. Been in for a while, Dave. You all right?
I know. I must have lost me way on the sat nav, to be honest with you. I found location on the air. No, it's good to be in. And like you say, it's just positive, isn't it? It's just nice to wake up on a Monday morning with a smile on your face, and I think the world's a better place.
Lovely, innit? Lovely. Ped, we going into this did feel optimistic about this one, which
no,
is
that's not.
Yeah. Actually, let me clarify that. I thought Everton would win this game. You were.
No, I was on the match preview. You weren't.
Yeah, I hid out the way.
I thought we had the opportunity to get to go somewhere. Recent history was against us, of course. But no, we went down there and done a Moisey on Moyes, didn't we?
We did.
We were used to these kind of wins when he was our manager. Going somewhere, maybe boring the home fans a little bit, quietening the gaff down, and then getting the goal. You would be Tim Cahill normally, wouldn't it? It'd be a Tim Cahill kind of goal, and that's and then you make sure you get every man behind the ball and make sure you stop the opposition, and you do it a very professional way, and that's what we saw yesterday. And I think that is what we're starting to see a little bit from Sean Dyche, just level performances. Mightn't always be amazing, mightn't always look amazing, but when you start getting the results, then it starts to feel like there's a bit of consistency there.
Absolutely. He went with, obviously, he had to make a change. Ashley Young sent off last week in the defeat at Anfield. Nathan Patterson coming, which I was delighted with. I know, I was thinking the Seamus going to be fitting. Is he just going to throw him back in? But I want Patterson to be given the opportunity. But then, of course, Dave, he's got to take it, hasn't he? It's great us going, I want to see Nathan Patterson in this team and doing well, but he has to take that opportunity when it comes along, the way Jarrad Branthwaite's done it.
He does, and and obviously, yeah, your point the other day about possibly looking at a low move for him, and it's less than ideal because we haven't really got fullbacks, have we, in abundance? So he's the perfect person that you want to come into the side, play, and just get that confidence back. He's struggled at times, hasn't he? I don't know sometimes if it's by design because he's having to play a bit tighter under Dyche's, systems, and he's not galloping forward, which is, as we know, what he likes to do. So he is a bit restricted in himself. So I think he's trying to feel himself into that position in a Sean Dyche side. But yeah, it was great to see him actually play with a bit of confidence in that second half. And look, when I looked at West Ham sides, their wing positions were really good, weren't they? Obviously they've got Kudus down his side and Bowen on the other, so we knew that our full-backs were going to have to be blob on yesterday, and he was, and Mikalenko was, so it's just nice to be able to just not worry about them position, which has caused a few issues this season, hasn't it?
Definitely, and I think, Ped, we've talked about Branthwaite growing into the position. Obviously, he had a full season last season out, so he got that experience, but he still had to wait for the opening couple of games before he got his opportunity, and he's grabbed it with both hands, and you can see, and again, I'm sure we'll talk about Jarrad Branthwaite at length in a bit, but this is what Patterson has to do, isn't it? And also, I think as well for the manager, Idrissa Gana Gay's available again, and yet James Garner's kept his place, so he's given those players that opportunity to take it, and I hope Patterson gets the same up.
Yeah, ultimately, it's the player who decides the manager's mind, isn't it? If the manager will always have an idea of what he wants to do, but I do think Sean Dyche is open-minded enough that if you play the games and you play well, we saw it with Yerry Mina, we saw it with Branthwaite, almost reading Twitter and seeing what everybody as a fan base wants, because you know what? Now and again, the fan base are right, and we're not all a bunch of internet keyboard warriors. We do know what about playing football and which player is better than other players. We're not stupid. And I'm not saying that's naturally what Patterson. I think we all know that Patterson has to get better and find a level of consistency.
Raw still, any.
Yeah, he is, and it is. There's confidence issues there. You can see that during games. You see him growing during game. I think we saw that yesterday. But you have to let people play games of football, and I understand that is difficult when you're struggling for results and you need that little bit of leadership.
Yeah.
But what I would hope is, I think now that we've found quite a settled team and a structure, and he's removed maybe some of the things that he doesn't want in the team, Dan Juma, that he's got players around him, Patterson playing ahead of him, you know, is a big indicator. You know, on the other side, I think Mikalenko has settled right down because he's got McNeil and he's got that consistency playing ahead of him. Little things like that, little partnerships. Seen Dave over the weekends about this. Little partnerships on the pitch makes a difference. If you know who the fella is to the right, to the left of you, and the fella ahead of you are, it makes a big difference to your game. You know, I was listening to something the other day talking about the goalkeeping situation at Arsenal, and you can just rotate. It's that easy. It's like you can't, because if I'm a defender and I go to pass the ball back to him during the game, and I think, oh, that's one goalkeeper, and suddenly it's another goalkeeper, and I've given it to the wrong. It's all these little minute details that make football, because at the top it is all about the fine details and all those little margins of error that you've got to get right. So I hope he stays in the team. I hope he stays in the team on Wednesday, earns another opportunity, and then earns that. And if he has three good games in a row, or 2 good games in a row, get the third, and then maybe the manager start looking at it like James Garner did, going, yeah, I can leave him in. You know, he's settled. He's listened to me. The manager doesn't want to keep him out, I think, because I don't like him, and Ashley Young's my personal favourite. He'd be going, which one's better? Who at the moment is doing what I'm asking him to do during the game? If I've asked him,
training, obviously.
Yeah, sorry, you're training more importantly. But if I've told him the first thing I've told him to do in a game, and he's just throwing it out the window straight away, can't listen, he can't take on instruction. All those things that obviously play a massive part.
Dave, I mean, Pat just said before, just talking about the game, the opening 10 or 15 minutes, we did just feel our way into it, didn't we? I felt it was an opportunity for us because they'd obviously been away in Greece on Thursday, and by the time you get back, Friday's a write-off, so they're just training for the game on Saturday. And it was an earlier one as well, so I thought if we can just get out that first 15, 20, feel our way into it, don't give anything cheaply away. The way their ground is, it's that far away from the pitch that you can kind of quieten it a little bit. Upton Park was obviously more harder to do. They were on top of you and that, and I thought Everton did that. They had a couple of moments, flashes, but again, didn't really fashion anything at Jordan Pickford. And once we got through that first 15, 20, we then started to show that we were a threat on the counter-attack. Perception's
interesting, isn't it? Because I was sat with Mitch yesterday talking when we were watching the match, and I said, if it was me...
Mitch Ward?
Early. Not with mates. And I was kind of saying to him exactly what you said. You know, West Ham are struggling with a bit of confidence. First half an hour, nothing silly. You know, you'd always get that. You can imagine Zyke saying to them, look, get into them, just quieten them down, as you say. Don't give anything silly. You don't have to, you know, be chasing them, you know, when they're in possession at the back. Just that first half an hour, play within yourselves. And I think about around the half an hour mark, 28 minutes, that was a chance where kind of Jack Harrison nipped the ball away.
We'll have a look at that in a sec.
That overload situation. But it was the first time that you've seen us on the front foot having a bit of a go higher up the pitch. So I don't think that was by chance. I think, as you say, you know, it was definitely a game plan to say, settle down, feel your way into the game, don't give them anything silly, you know, no silly set pieces around the edge of the box. I know we give a couple, which was frustrating at times, but, you know, it's one of them that you just wanted to get through that first half an hour, I think, and it was perfect. It was, for me, the perfect performance. It was the perfect game plan. And I can imagine when they got in at half-time, you know, Sean Dyche was probably very happy with that first 45 minutes.
Well, I mean, Pat, we're going to look at the breakaway now, but this is something we've seen at Goodison when teams come to us and sit behind the ball, and I'll be honest, not lately, but over the years we've seen it, haven't we, where you kind of lose that momentum in the opening 15, 20 minutes because they just taking a bit of time at goal kicks. There's 2 banks of 4. It's like, break us down then, and when it happens now, we haven't been good enough in too many games to break the opposition down, which is why at times we've been better when teams have come on to us. And I thought it was like Everton v, I think you said it too yesterday, didn't you? It was Everton v Everton. That's what it looked like, old Everton v current Everton. But we did have this chance that Dave just talked about. Jack Harrison, great pressing on the halfway line, and because he's pressing so high, they just find a little flick and he's onto it. And we have this opportunity. We're just going to look at it now. On the screen. and we can see Harrison's advancing to the box, and there's 2 balls on here. The slide, the little reverse to the Decore who's in on goal, or the arrow to Dominic Calvert-Lewin who's in as well, and I think he's just in that I want to score a goal myself mode. We take it on one, he's coming inside already, but the Decore with the reverse is still on. We take it on again, he decides to have the shot, and we take it on again. You see it's a comfortable save for Areola who ends up gathering it, but there is that moment, and we've seen this a few times this season, where we haven't played that right pass, and in other games it's come back to bite us on the arse. But
I didn't think this was strictly Jack Harrison's fault, by the way.
Okay.
I thought both runs weren't particularly great. I don't
look
think,
at the space the Corey's
I don't think the Corey makes enough movement away from him to. There's one defender, and I think the Corey has to pull away and more to almost entice the defender to come over to allow Dom to be freer. Don't get me wrong, Jack Harrison's not blameless. I just would have liked to have seen those two split that one defender a little bit quicker, because they're almost like, I don't quite know where to go, and they're trying to stay on side. It was actually good defending, but he kept them up. But
I still think that he.
It's poor, but and there is a split second there where he can get it right between the two, but that is a split second.
The reverse to the Decore remains on. You're right, he hasn't pulled wide, but it remains on. If he just reverses it, he's got a side foot. But listen, he's confident enough he wanted to do it himself, didn't he? And he had another one where he blazed over the bar.
To make up for that one.
Yeah,
but he
under it and over it, didn't he? But you're right, Dave. I mean, that was the first real sign we saw that we could hit them on the counter. We weren't great going forward. Again, a couple of times, the Corey won the ball, and he's just not. I think he always gets caught in 2 minds what he's doing. Yeah. His decision making isn't great, and we saw it at Anfield last week in the first half. He broke a few times, and it was like there was a pass on, and he's like almost trying to get it perfect before he passes it. And sometimes in games, they're the only opportunities you get, and it can go away from you, because we were a little bit reserved, but by the same token, they didn't really do anything. In fact, I don't even think they had a shot at goal in the first half, where we'd had a few, albeit not amazing ones.
No, you spot on, and I think that you can look at things totally different ways. You can look at saying, maybe McNeil and Harrison weren't doing enough going forward. Maybe it was because they were doing so much going back. And that's not just about making tackles. It's being in the right place, working the right areas. Yeah. Cutting off the lines, and all them invisible things that you kind of don't see when you're watching the game off the ball. And it's easy to forget as fans, because you just want them moments, don't you? You want to see Jack Harrison bursting through, scoring goals, but all the work the other way that he does offer the team. Likewise with McNeil, I think that was the key as part of that performance was the off the ball stuff. And look, again, that was a big moment. But, a lot of Premier League players will take them chances themselves, won't they? They'll try and shoot it to get a chance. Could he slip it to Decore, quick ball across and tap in for Dom? I don't know, but, it's easy said than done. I'm sure if you were bursting through on goal pass, no one's going to stop you taking the shot, are they?
I'm having the shot, probably. Ped, I mean, that's a great point Dave makes about our 2 wide players, because they are the good going forward, they've proved. But they do both work hard. I mean, Jack Harrison has had to kind of have that under Bielsa, and his route into football, New York City and being on loan at Middlesbrough, things like that, he is about the hard work. He's almost, we were saying it all summer, it was obvious that transfer was going to happen to Everton, because he's just a perfect Sean Dyche player, isn't he? And you've got Dwight McNeil, we know how hard he works on the other side. And that's give Everton a more solid basis, hasn't it? In terms of the 2 lads certainly playing full-back know that they've got protection in front of them. It's whether we can up their quality when we do go the other way.
Yeah, it's a threat. There's a threat there, but there's also obviously defensive responsibility that they obviously both take seriously. And McNeil's numbers, I know yesterday, were really good defensively. Jack Harrison's not so much. Yes, you want more from them in the final third, and they're not both amazing players, let's be honest, are they? They're both workman-like players, like you said, that Dyche would appreciate. That might have something in the locker now and again. McNeil, obviously, we've seen shooting, from out from range, and he did in this game, or crossings into the box. And we saw the goal Harrison scored against Bournemouth. And he looks very composed on the ball, by the way, with both feet. yeah, you just want a little bit more. But the thing about it in a game like this, you could have a Dan Juma in there, and Dan Juma could be doing equally nothing going forward. But is he going to give you that defensive stability to win these kind of games?
Yeah.
And that's all it comes down to, isn't it? Winning these kind of games. There might be other days. Don't think we've found those days yet, but there are other days where you can go, oh, Dan Juma can play on the left and he can do what he wants because we've got this player and that, but we don't have those at the play. Every player has to win their own battle, I think, in this team. And when we win more battles than the other team, we're going to win or we should win. So that I understand why this is the team, and this is the team he's going to try and set up for most of the season, I imagine.
I mean, I like both wide players. I think both have got, I think, Dwight McNeil, although he overperformed to what his career has been so far last season in terms of goals. I mean, I still think he's got that shooting ability in his locker, and he's got a lovely left foot, and he works so hard. And I think Patterson's a cracking player. I do. I think both feet, and he will give you that hard work. And I think that's why it's not difficult to understand why Dan Juma isn't getting a game. He's shown very little so far. He's put the ball in the net twice, which is great, but I just don't think he's shown enough when he's been in the team, Dave, to go for anyone to turn around and go, he should be playing.
Yeah, no, exactly. And, you know, that I think we're getting to a stage now where when you're in the pub before the game, you're talking to your mates and you're kind of guessing what the lineup is. Most of us would guess the same lineup now because we know, you know, there's a settled side there. You know, you're getting players that aren't playing 9 out of 10 every week, but they're putting in 7s. You know, and we'll take that all day. You know, after the last couple of years, we've just been so up and down. You're almost like the Damari Gray effect, where he can have a 9 out of 10 one week and a 3 the next week.
He's the perfect like thing, isn't he? Yeah. You look at Harrison yesterday. You look at Damari Gray. Yeah, Damari Gray might bend one in from 30 yards once every 25 games. But what are you doing in the meantime? And it's not like we're sitting here going, oh, we're missing a Wobie and we're missing Damari Gray, are we? No. We're not at all. We've got
solid and compact, don't we?
Yeah. And there might be those moments where we do miss that little bit, but you can't sit around waiting for those moments. You've got to have, like you just said, Dave, perfectly, try and have a 7 out of 10.
We've wanted it. We've been crying about this, but all of us bemoaning. You do not know, Carl. We were getting it under Carlo. Carlo's famous quote, one of this team's got 2 faces. Of like it's this week and it's this. Like how was one of the greatest managers ever lived saying it, and other ones who, without that ability that he's got, have found this as well, isn't it? And right now we're getting back towards. I still don't think we're good enough at home at the moment, and hopefully that'll change. But this was the one thing that, funnily enough, David Moyes did manage to give us was results weren't always there, but we kind of knew what we'd get most weeks.
I think that was the first time as well we've had a clean sheet away win in 2 years, and I think the last one was Brighton.
With Brighton in the August under Benitez. So we, even when we're going away, you know, we've always been quite open to conceding goals as well. So you go all Michael Owen on you, but you've got to kind of score 2 or 3 then, haven't you, to be in a chance to win the game every single time. So it's refreshing to see that clean sheet, you know, the lack of chances for West Ham, and just being able to just have that one moment that wins a game and not worry about having to score 2 or 3 goals. You know, it's good. Like Dave said, he got to half time, and I think Sean Dyche would have certainly been happier at the 2 managers. Everton had more attempts at goal than West Ham. I think they'd had a couple on target, and West Ham hadn't had anything. And it was a case of come out. You knew they were going to come out a little bit riled after the first 10 minutes, because I'm sure David Moyes will have had a go at the fact that they were a little bit passive, I think, is the right thing. Yeah. They were looking for moments, weren't they, rather than any kind of sustained thing. But I thought Everton did kind of quell the first 10, 12 minutes after the break quite well as well. They come out with a little bit of, they moved it a bit quicker to Kudus, and they were trying to get on the front foot. But Everton, Tarkowski and Branthwaite just stood firm, didn't they, and didn't really give them anything.
Yeah. We'd quieted the crowd down. It was, the atmosphere was, you know, there was nothing there, and they're our
fans, like.
But they're probably worried, thinking, oh, could be another defeat here, 3 in a row, oh God. You know, all those things that go through you. Sunday early kick-off, 1 o'clock. You dragged yourself there. You're probably half thinking, what time am I going to get home and all that? You know, what time's the queue, you know, the queue for the train station and all those things start entering your head. The game's one of them where Probably got to the
It's an
point where when you're
inconvenience.
saying round, you're talking to your mate, aren't you? And it's that kind of feeling then. That happens in
God.
games, don't they? You get, and it's...
We've all had them. We've all been there.
Yeah, of course we have. And I think we just didn't let them in the game, did you? I think they got a couple of set pieces early on and we just defended properly. That's the word I'd use, properly.
Yeah.
Not like, and there was no one's being doing any Terry Butchers or anything. We're not at that stage. We're just defending properly. And with the two centre backs, we look really good. Michalenko's doing his job. Patterson's getting the confidence to do his job. Onana sitting in front of him doing his job, and everyone's just, and we're growing. Then we're growing, thinking we can get something here.
And obviously we had that moment, which was absolutely brilliant. So we're going to look at we've got all the stills from it. So it starts with, we see here, Jarrad Branthwaite wins a ball with Antonio, nice and aggressive in the challenge, no foul, and you know Antonio's rolling around. Take it on, and Branthwaite doing what he does, stepping with the ball. Take it on again, Ned. Plays it into Dom, who's circled, he just pops it off to Harrison, and then he's getting between, got the arrow there on the next one where he wants to get himself, which is on right between the two centre-backs on the edge of the box. Harrison plays it in, and this is brilliant from Dom, back to goal. You're thinking, is he going to just get his foot on it and roll it off? Take it on. No, he does a little trick, little chop through the legs, and then that gives him the space. And we see from behind, the next one behind the goal, he's just got the space there to try and fire it back in that corner. Take it on again. He's got it out of his feet. You can take it on again, beating the keeper. And is there a better sight than seeing that in the net? And there's Dom doing a almost Emil Heskey type celebration, circa.
No, that's not Emil Heskey.
No.
Emil Heskey was like doing that.
Oh, he done that, yeah. What was that? Oh, that was
Luca Toni, innit?
Yeah, exactly what it was.
Toni,
Luca Toni. Yeah, Emil was he was the, I don't even know why I said that.
Why
Ridiculous.
did you even go there?
Because you know what, I've seen a picture of Heskey, dude. I haven't seen him for a while, so he's in my mind. Seen him.
He used to come in here quite regularly, didn't he?
He did. He used to come in
Oddly
and
enough.
act with the Redmen, pissing Padjack up, throwing him against the wall. Maybe I seen Chris and thought I want to throw him against the wall. I don't know. I don't know why that coming. He was full Luca Toni. But Dave, that was seeing a little bit more from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Those little tricks. We talk about the Brighton trick that he done last year, the drag back, which created the Corey's goal. We've seen in some games that confidence starting to flow from him, and this was a little brilliant. Just get yourself a little half a yard, and the keeper can't get set, and it's in the back of the net.
I mean, Moyes will be fuming at the centre half, won't he? You know, because both of them, you know, are kind of looking at Dom and they're in the perfect position, and it's almost one of them. Don't let him turn. You know, keep him facing that way. But it was brilliant. Like
I think they don't expect it. That's why. That's why it's so good.
Definitely, and I think Dom he's had to go away and reinvent himself, hasn't he? You know, if you look at obviously
into Luca Toni.
Into Luca Toni.
Apparently,
it's not into Luca Toni.
Not a bad person to reinvent himself into.
But you know, he was almost this 6-yard man, wasn't he? Under Carlo Ancelotti, you know, he was the poacher. You know, instinctive finishes, and it was always them ones where he had a bit more time to think. He wasn't really putting them away.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we've seen the goal against Villa. You know, racing through and he slots that perfectly. And like you say, this is another asset to his game that he seems to have added. You know, and he's moving away from that one-trick pony approach that he, you know, not to say he was. But, you know, he's hard to mark. You don't know, you know, is he going to be in a 6-yard box, making you know, work back with him? You know, turning on the edge of the box, you know, the different styles to his game. Now racing through on goal, you know, he's adding these intricacies to his game, and the more he does that, and you know, that it's that attitude, isn't it? That continuous improvement, attitude in your mind, constantly getting to the training ground, constantly evolve.
Goal, has he, this season?
Yeah,
no,
and
it's mad.
He's evolving all the time as a player, and he has come back looking a lot fitter. He looks a different shape, doesn't he? You know, I think Carlo Ancelotti almost had him kind of Ronaldo-esque, didn't he? You know, with the massive, chunky thighs.
I'll be honest, I think that was him more than... I don't know whether that was who that was. I think players get to a point where they find it very easy to bulk up.
Yeah.
And it almost becomes a... You're absolutely right. He was... Look, we saw this with Lukaku when he left Everton. They feel like they need to be stronger, but they... And it must... They've got everything, haven't they? They've got everything to do it. Or... They've got the gym there. They've got all the facilities. They will allow. They have chefs. They have. It must be dead easy to just go. I can just keep doing this all day, you know. And he did. He got become. And
very bulky, wasn't he?
I spoke about this without having any idea what I'm talking about. By the way, no, No, but like you could see it though, and you look at it and go, what's changed for Dom? Why is Dom picking up so many injuries? What has changed? And you look at him and go, well, the first thing I can see that's changed is he's a completely different shape to what he used to be.
Yeah.
You go back to 2019, he's still a little scrawny kid.
Yeah, he's thick, isn't
He
he?
looks thin in the face. He looks like when he's scoring goals. Go back to like a goal he scored against like Palace, and the one he scored when Rooney scored the hat against West Ham. And you look at how, and then suddenly it just over like a year or so, he just went massive. And I just think that massively played a part. Some players can't have that on them. They can't have that extra stress because it is stress. It's stress, and actually
It's to keep it up, innit? It's to keep it that size. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
To keep that up is stressful.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So
football's a totally different game. Running more so than building. If there's an image of him when. There's one when he's doing the Bob Latchford scowl, you know, Bob Latchford scowl with the perm and he's like that. There's a picture of Dom, I can't remember who it's against. And he just looks like this big fella and you were like, well, has he been to Bayern Munich for a bit on the creek? Because you know what they like, they turn into monsters when they go there.
It's not hard as
but
a footballer.
Really him.
It's not hard if you've got all the supplements and all the right diet and everything. It's not hard to do that. But he went, in my opinion, it looked like he went too far. And he looks like the right shape now. He looks like it's all come off. They've properly looked at it. They've properly analysed it. And fair play for the manager to recognise that straight away. It was a massive gamble what he did last season. And I know it pissed us off every week when he was making excuses for him. But he took the gamble and then they went out and he spent money on 2 centre forwards to cover his arse as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's made a massive difference as well. And you can see a player now who's enjoying his football and not worrying about, I've got to be at it next week. There are players to come in. There are players you can step in. You know, there are players you can come off the bench. You know, that's a game where he could have run himself into the ground, and then who knows? You get to the red zone, and that's where you're more likely to get injuries. Now he knows the man can just go, no, you can come off. I have got Beto. You know, last week really in the derby, you're thinking, you should never have took him off in a derby. But if they've got the numbers to suggest, you should come off now. Then
well, he might have, and also some games suit them. And the other thing as well is that. I think that was what was good about last week in the derby, though. I just think he made that based on how the game was going. Dom was doing nothing. And that's good to be able to go.
How dare you?
He's acting, he wasn't. I loved Dom. But last week in that derby, he done nothing. And therefore, he wasn't even holding the ball up. So it just was one of them days when he didn't get into it. And I think that's good that the manager can go, you're not playing very well, mate. And for once, I'm actually going to make a substitution because you're not playing very well. Not because I'm worried you might get injured. Because that's how you should be judged. You can't look at a player, I don't think, all the time and go, oh my God, I can't play him longer than 65 minutes because he might get... How do you build a team like that? Whereas last week, I think he just looked and went, Beto's a bit... Like, Dom's not really getting much change out of Van Dijk or Konradi. Beto likes a scrap. It was 0-0. Let's throw him on. Whereas yesterday, he was doing well. I mean, he played, 88 minutes?
Why don't we look at his numbers?
Well, we can have a look at his numbers. Let's have a look at Dominic Calvert-Lewin's numbers from yesterday, Ned. There we go. 2 shots at goal, 1 on target, which was his goal, of course. Dribbles, 1 out of 2, won 8 out of 13 of his duels, and had an XG of 0.23. Sorry, it was hidden. 0.23. But there's his heat map as well, as you can see.
Heat map looks like a lovely, fluffy, sunny day, doesn't it?
Well, it does, but I mean, as Dave pointed out before with Carlo, that would have very much been centralised in the penalty area. And we're going to see something else. Let's have a look at another aspect of his game. Dave, you were just talking about adding different aspects to his game. This was an aspect of his game that we know he's really good at, and it is the Abdoulaye Doucouré chance, which we're going to have a look at now, which begin when Ned's ready. There we go, that's the first one. And this is his aerial ability. It's a ball up to him. He takes the defenders out the game, basically, with that flick. We take it on, Doucouré's going to make that run. Off goes Abdoulaye Doucouré, racing through the middle. We take it on again. He's clear. Now here, for me, he should take another touch, which gets him in the penalty area with the goalkeeper. The opposite, we take it on again. He opts to shoot. He strikes it well. If you look from behind the goal, this is his view. He's gone for that far corner. Take it on again. You see Areola getting down with that strong left hand. This one's a better one. It's fingertips, isn't it, which stops it going in. And then you can see Doucouré with his head in his hands there. And I'll be honest, at that moment, I was cursing a little bit because I thought he should have took one more touch, and then he's on top of the keeper, and then it's a little side foot round him, and you're thinking, we've won the game. And it was that moment where I can look back now and go, oh, what a brilliant save. Great little cameo, that. But at the time, I'm thinking, oh, please do not be the moment where we all look back. And I'm envisaging yesterday, us sat here going, that was the moment, wasn't it? Yeah. Luckily for us, it wasn't the moment, but Ped, I know, I mean, we'll come to Dave in a minute, but I know...
I've seen his first touch. I'm glad he took it first.
I was going to say, you don't quite share with me,
no,
do you? You think he should have hit it?
I actually think he did the right thing.
Okay.
Because I don't think the goalie was... I think he thinks he's going to catch the goalie cold there. And I think he strikes it brilliantly. And I do worry what would have happened if he took a touch there. Because I generally do think it would have just bounced off his foot and gone about 5 yards ahead of him. And I think it's a really good strike. A really, really good strike. In the moment, yes, you can take it back and you can stop and you can say, if you took another touch there, we've watched the Corey. I don't really have any arguments with it. You're absolutely right. I did say that was the moment. But it was the moment because we just didn't score for it. It was a brilliant opportunity. But I do think he done the right thing. Yes, he could have took a touch. But it could have been the same outcome with the Corey.
Listen, absolutely. Dave, but that's what when we say about the other aspect, that is an aspect we know about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's fabulous in the air. And that's why the Corey's in the team. Yeah. Because that's the perfect scenario. Into Dom, the flick, and he charges in behind. And, well, I mean, where do you stand with it? Did he do the right thing? Should he took a touch? What do you think?
Well, we were talking, obviously, Ped mentioned about the partnerships, you know, and you're starting to see that again. You know, Doucouré probably wouldn't have made that run at the start of the season. Because the fella in the sides up front's not winning the
I don't think Mopé's winning that, is he?
No, exactly. So
he can't win a race with a goalie, 20 yards ahead of him.
But you're starting to see, you know, these instinctive things where you know, take the chance because Calvert-Lewin's going to win this. You know, and we're starting to see, you know, the improvements in certain players because of that, because of the partnership aspect. And you're right, you know, it's an excellent save from Areola. I think he's a great reflex keeper, you know, and I think we've seen that at PSG. I couldn't believe, I had him in my fantasy football, by the way, last season, and I couldn't believe Moyes didn't put him straight in. You know, he's had to earn his place in the side, and, you know, he's a fantastic keeper. But I think Doucouré hit it perfect. You know, he took it. He hit it at pace. It had to be at pace, didn't it, to beat him cold. But I just think it's an excellent save. And, because he took a touch, then done the kind of lofted bent over the keeper. But God, he's not a striker either, is he? You know, Doucouré's goals come from instinctive finishes, don't they? Where he just puts his foot behind it.
I think a lot of strikers would have lofted the keeper there.
Just think.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I just think a lot of confident strikers would have.
I just wanted them to give himself, get that out of your feet. I'd have just took another touch and then gone for the guide. But you're right, the keeper might have done exactly the same. He might have saved it and you go, oh, why didn't he hit it first time? It was just because he was clear. I'm thinking, get yourself closer to the goal and make the goal.
Did he have one against Bournemouth?
No, we had one against Bournemouth.
At the Gladysy before.
And he had listen, and people go, what about Leeds last year when Ellis Simmons played him through? And he got onto his left foot and it was another back pass. So fair play. I'm just saying at the time, I'm thinking, oh, there's a big gap for you to just go into. But it was a brilliant save by the
keeper. By the way, their goalkeeper, all he needed was rollerblades, and he's in the Barbie film. That's all he needed. Tremendous pink and green goalkeeping kit there. Fair play. Fair play.
No, it was a brilliant save, but you do, because Everton stuff in the past, you are thinking
you want the little comfort.
The Patterson one and the Doucouré one either side of the goal. It's like, oh, this could have been our opportunity. But you know what? What we did really well was just carry on defending brilliantly, and the two centre backs were.
Sid James in that.
He was, it was. It Sid, it wouldn't be a proper carry on of Sid James, wasn't it? Was he? Hattie Jakes and all them. But Jarrad Branthwaite, I spoke about him before. And it was in this period after that Doucouré miss. I'm going with you, Doucouré.
What's going on?
It's Doucouré. It's because Dave's going
the French influence.
It is. That's what it is from Dave. Doucouré. After that, I thought the Dukes. Yeah, I thought Branthwaite really shone in that last 25. He stepped up again, and let's have a look at his numbers. He had 10 clearances, 5 out of 9 duels, 2 tackles, 2 interceptions. And his passes 33 out of 46. There's his heat map. You can see very much the left side of the penalty area. But Dave, he is someone who each week is just looking better and better.
He is, you know, the Carlisle destroyer, but he's
Born in Carlisle.
Carlisle.
Made at Everton.
I think what the guy kind of said yesterday, and you know, he's in the right place a hell of a lot of time, and it's not by chance that he's there. He reads the game fantastically. You know, when he went away to PSV, we were hoping to see a different player when he came back, and I think last time we seen him before the loan spell, I think it was a Tony where he was the wrong side, and he's come back and he's constantly, you know, using his frame. He's always in the right positions. You know, when the balls are getting whipped in, he's always taking that kind of back post element there in the 6-yard box, and he's just there all automatically. And a lot of the time, he's avoiding us being under any threats from simple moments. And I think he simplified his game. He's so confident. We see him with the Calvert-Lewin goal. You know, he doesn't just win the ball, but he then takes it on, you know, and plays the right ball. Yeah. He's just a class act, you know, and I was trying to, I've seen people kind of compare them to Stones. You don't like I hate comparing players at times. But, you know,
you're going to do it.
I'm going to do it anyway. Let's do it anyway. But you look back to that, you know, that age, you know, when he first come into the side, you wouldn't think that he was a young defender. No. You'd think that he was like a 27, 28-year-old polished, experienced centre-half that's played in that division for years. He plays with a certain level of just, you know, he's got like an air about him, hasn't he? You know, you just feel confident.
Don't forget, this kid's got a lot of miles on the clock, though.
Yeah.
This is a kid, what was he, 16, 17 when we got him?
Yeah.
And he played in their first team.
He played in their first team, he played in the Premier League for us, behind closed doors. Then he went to Blackburn, Then he come back and played some more games for us. It's been a steep learning curve. Went to PSV, and I think what happened with PSV was actually because he was probably physically bigger than a lot of the players he was playing against, he learned to be physical, you know, rather than be, and he was the aggressor, and I think he's brought that with us, and he looks so calm. That's the word I use all the time about him, calm. Yeah. Because compared to a certain other centre-back who looks like he's juggling fish, honestly, as he plays, this kid just he's so smooth in a game. And yesterday, even like the lead up for the goal on Antonio, he actually wins it so cleanly that there is no issue. There's no one saying, oh, that might be a foul. Yeah. The referee, you know, especially when you score, everything gets looked at. Oh, did he touch him? Was he aggressive? Did he get a... No, he just gets in there, wins it cleanly.
Up against probably one of the most powerful strikers in the Premier League for backing in, and,
well,
you know...
He thinks so, anyway.
But what I mean is, physically, he's a specimen, and Antonio's huge, isn't he?
He didn't win every header yesterday, but, you know, it was a day where obviously, for probably the first time, the TV started to notice him. Less of that, please. Thank you very much. Less of that. Yeah. Less man of the matches.
Worry about others. Look at
less man of the matches and less, you know, analysm on Match of the Day 2. Thank you very much. Add
another 40 million to his price tag.
Yeah. Although it did make me laugh when I think it might have been on Match of the Day 2 when he said if he can keep his place and become a regular in the team. It's like, wait, who's taking it? Who's taking a play?
He's been in since
who's taking his place?
Of the season he's been in.
It's pretty much the perfect. You know, if you were using a thing for Felwell to say this is what we want for our young players,
absolutely.
Get them at good price. Get them in, maybe, you know, a little championship loan, get them out to Europe playing football, bring them back and then sign that big contract as well, which he has done.
Let me ask you about this, because I haven't asked you about this, just breaking off from that, because you just mentioned it, like the perfect thing. If a certain fella in a baseball cap is successful with their purchase of Everton 777, because it is a multi-club thing, do you think that will be looking for positives here, will be a positive of that with some of our young players to try to like move them? I'm thinking of people who could maybe go to Standard Liège, who's one of their clubs and things like that.
Done that already, haven't we? Isaac Price, and
there you go. And well, John Joe Kenny scored for Berlin yesterday.
There you go.
So there you go. Dick L will be made up. One of our Premier members loves John Joe Kenny. But do you think that could be something, Dave, where it's for Thelwell, go and get that younger player, like you say? I know Everton are looking at a couple of young players in Germany at the moment who are highly rated. Yeah. Bring him in, have a little look, and then go, right, we can use that to get you a loan into Europe for maybe, because that's what has worked so well with Branthwaite. Like Ped said, he'd already played in the League Two and he played in the Championship with Blackburn and all, and caused murder at the Riverside against Middlesbrough and things like that before he did go off to Europe on loan. But we're seeing a lad now that's come back and he is supremely confident, playing brilliantly.
Absolutely, and I think at the very least it gets him in the shop window as well, doesn't it? I think you look at maybe Dobbin now. I've got to admit, we're all wrong at times. I kind of looked at Dobbin and thought, don't really think he'll get into this side. I don't think he's Premier League.
I don't think you were wrong,
wrong.
I don't think you were wrong, mate.
He's not getting in, is he?
I just didn't see him as developing into a Premier League player, to be honest. Early doors, looking at him, I thought, maybe he might be one we'd sell in the summer, but he's come back. He's had a really good pre-season. And like you say, if that does go through, he might be one we look at in January and think, right, get him somewhere decent around Europe to one of them clubs. And if we don't want to take him back in the summer, he's then in the shop window, and you can make a bit of profit off him, can't you?
That's it. That's a good point. That with someone like Lewis Dobbin, because he is in our squad at the moment. He's on the bench yesterday. He's played in League One. Championship might be right, but then again, if this did go through and there was an opportunity for, say, Standard Liège or something, he'd already have Isaac Price, who he knows, go into a Belgium league, because he's quick, and it could help his development.
I certainly wouldn't want to, or don't like the idea of forcing these players on a team.
No.
But at least if we are part of that, and that if there are going to be positives from it, is, if they get the option first.
That's what I mean,
and I don't like the idea of...
No, I don't.
I know what you're saying. I don't like the idea of like feeder clubs or anything like that in these scenarios. But I do like the idea of using
pooling resources or whatever.
The multi-club system to say, do you want this player? We know. Or if there's going to be a head honcho guy who's looking after, or like the director of directors of football, and that guy goes, you know what? I've looked at what this team need and what you've got and what you don't, not what you don't need, but who needs to develop. I've seen that they need a winger, and Lewis Dobbin would benefit massively, but also they'd benefit massively. Because let's not forget, PSV benefited massively from having Branthwaite to the point where they wanted to keep him. It wasn't a crowbar job.
No.
Marcel Brands didn't take him over there to just go, I'm going to do my ex-employees a favour. He went, this kid's a talent, and maybe, because I know maybe they're stupid enough, they might sell him to us. But luckily enough, we are not stupid enough. Just about.
Just this time. Yeah.
So no, he was absolutely brilliant yesterday. Another player as well, I thought was really good. And again, it's shone in that last kind of 20 when we needed it to, was Amadou Onana, who was... Paddy seems to have been just put in that 6 now to just let him get on with that. I know Lampard tried him in different roles, and I think Dyche looked at him in different positions and wasn't quite sure whether to trust him. He went away with Belgium. Dominic Tedesco was talking about him being one of the best 6s in Europe and all that. And he's come back to Everton, and he's kind of dropped into that role as if to go, right, well, he's the most natural fit. Idrissa Gana Gueye can do that, but he also likes to run after the ball and press, and James Garner, I don't think that suits him, and Decore doesn't suit him. So Onana, it was a natural fit, and since he's gone in there, I think he's been brilliant. If we have a look at his numbers yesterday, he had 65 touches of the ball, 89% passing accuracy, 6 tackles, 7 ball recoveries, and won 12 out of 15 of his duels. There's his heat map. And this again against the team he may well have joined, of course, last summer.
I think we're getting the benefits of it. We're getting the benefits of a player playing in his proper position. And also, he'll be happier playing in his proper position, knowing that. How is he going to develop with someone developing players? How is he going to develop as a player if he's not playing in his true position?
For his country.
He's signed for Everton knowing it wasn't going to be easy, but knowing, and I don't like to use the word stepping stone, but just part of his development. Developing to a point where you take the next step in his career. We know that, he knows that. It's not going to be at Everton forever. We all thought he'd probably leave last summer, never mind, anything further. We're getting the benefits now of letting a player develop in his own position. This is what we're talking about with Branthwaite, this is what we're talking about with Patterson. You've got to let players, but it's almost looking at the alternative, going, what is the alternative? Then allowing someone to get through those games. And what we're starting to see now is, listen, the statos have been telling us for ages about his numbers and how amazing they are. We're actually seeing in the eye test now. We're seeing him play the games. And I thought there was a moment later on where, he was running with the ball and he was trying to get out of our half. And you've got one of their players, Souček, I think it was trying to bring him down. And he wouldn't have it. He was just going and going, and he played the ball wide. And it was a case of, well, if the ball doesn't get played, I'll probably get the foul. But if I do play, we're away.
Yeah.
And it's that, I think there's been a little switch in him where, and he can develop now, and he'll know if he develops at his own pace, people will start paying attention. But more importantly now, and goes back to something Dave said a little bit earlier, we've got a spine now. We've got the goalkeeper, we've got the centre-backs, we've got Onana, and then we've got Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and we've got a proper spine that runs through for a while. And there's, hopefully, there's a consistency. And if Dom's not playing, then you've got Beto. But at least you've got a consistent spine that you can rely on, hopefully, most weeks.
All 6 footers. And Davey, there was one even in the last couple of minutes where the ball was in our box and he broke, and I'm thinking, smash it, and he didn't. He held it, ran, waited for the tackle, took the touch, and then the lad took him out and he got their player booked, and it was like, he was so strong on the ball, and that's what we want to see. And he's got those telescopic legs where he somehow wins tackles you don't think he can. And it was just, he seemed to me to just be getting better and better.
He does, you know. One of the best tackles I've seen was probably the Derby one where he runs 60 yards and puts a tackle in. It was a red card if he misses that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But he such is the confidence. You know, he knew he was going to win the tackle. I think you're right. He can do that extra little bit. You know, and that, look, we paid a lot of money for him. I know that it was on Klarna, as most of our fees are like, but that's the player that we wanted now. I've heard Ped say 1,001 times, we want to see that extra little bit out of him. You know, and that's the challenge for him now, isn't it? You know, keep the levels now. Yeah. You know, we've seen what you can do. You know, from now to January, let's see you do it week in, week out. You know, and you'd be saying to him now, can you add a goal or two? You know, you're a big lad. You know, he's won the second most amount of aerial duels in Europe out of any player in European football. So say to him now, I want 5 goals from you. Between now and the end of the season, I want to start seeing that impact in the opposition box as well.
Let's be honest, he should be scoring off corners, shouldn't he? The size of him.
Yeah, and he's good in the air.
We had another moments where he threaded Dom through, and Dom hits the crossbar. He's just offside. It was tight. But he broke and waited, and then he just played Dom in, and that's another aspect of his game that I think he's got.
But we got told this when he come in, didn't he? I think Bobby Martinez said, you know, he's so competent on the ball. And you look and think, my God, you know, the size of him, he's good on the ball as well. This fella's got a bit of everything in him, and he has. And, you know, you see, you know, he gets the ball, he keeps it simple, doesn't he? Keeps it ticking over, you know, and he has got that ability to stride forward. And, you know, as soon as he gets it out, you know, he gets us 20 yards up the pitch, you know, 25 yards up all the time. So, they just keep doing that.
He saw it, didn't he? It was Fulham, wasn't it, where he played Maupay through and he put his hands up because he thought he can't miss. And Maupay did miss, but he had, you know, when you're like, he can spread, split defence.
Yeah, I think by the time he's 24, 25, I think he'll be playing.
No, he won't be playing for us.
He'll be playing at the latter ends of the Champions League.
But for him, it's have a good season. He's got the Euros next summer.
Yeah.
If he carries on playing well, listen, he mightn't be here, but at least if he carries on at this level and keeps getting better, Everton will get 80, 85 million, because that's the going rate now for a really good defensive midfielder. His age, the height, the physicality, you make us big money. And I guess for Kevin Thelwell and the recruitment team now, it's plot the next Amadou Onana.
The point being is, we've talked about 3 or 4 of these now, is that you don't want 3 or 4 at once. You want one that can come into a settled team and can have good days and bad days. The problem with Everton in the last couple of years certainly is, because we have had 4 or 5 of these almost at a time, that you can't find that consistency. And maybe that's what Dyche is going to give us, or seems like he is giving us, is a level of consistency where players can. So you look at it and go, well, the team's settled, everyone's doing all right. Patterson, can he settle down now? But has he got he's got a little wiggle room to do it, rather than being like, he's got to settle. And that's where we've been. I know it's only early days, but it does feel like a little bit like you're getting just that calmness now. I'm hoping.
No, it is
very, very early.
There is a bit more calm for now. We've got to get the home form right. We get the home form right, the calmness will be there then, because we are seeing performances away from home. I think they really only had a header, the back post, which Everton switched off from a set piece again, and Decore switched off and Jarrad Bowen headed it. Luckily for us, miles over, and then Decore kind of realises and put his hand as if like, oh, I should have known someone was there. And then Jordan Pickford was called upon near the end. They've got the stills here, and it's just a ball, and Benrahma has got a little bit of space on the far side. It's an angled ball in, and he hits the volley towards the goal and take it on. And Pickford flies across, makes the save, gets it out of there, and you see it from behind. He's got those two hands on. It's a save you'd expect him to make. But obviously it was the 91st minute or something, 92nd minute, so you're like a little bit hard in your mouth for a second. But, you know, like I said, it was that few and far between. If we have a look at the stats from the game, West Ham 0, Everton 1. 12 attempts at goal from West Ham, 10 for Everton. 2 on target for the Hammers, 4 for the Blues. 1 big chance each. 64% possession for West Ham. And Everton on that, 36-37%. Some other stats from the game. Everton have won more Premier League away games against West Ham United than they have against anyone else in the competition, 13. West Ham have failed to score in a Premier League game at the London Stadium for the first time in 2023, ending a run of 14 consecutive home games with a goal. Everton have won a Premier League away game for the first time without conceding since August 21 at Brighton, which is what you said before. 41 away games since the last clean sheet. And Everton have won consecutive away matches in London for the first time since May 2021, with the second in that run also being a 1-0 win at West Ham when Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored the winner. So, a little bit of synergy there as we approach Halloween. So, a great win for Everton.
What's synergy got to do with Halloween?
The two there.
What are you going on about?
Oh,
It was that little
bit.
bit.
No.
You just say words and add sound effects.
Yeah, and it makes
that makes it Halloween.
Makes it spooky. I wanted Ned to put some like spookiness on the screen, like a bat flying or something like that.
He convinced me, to be honest.
Yeah,
there you go. That's all it's about.
Oh, we got a goal. Spooky.
Well, it's just around now. Come on, if you can't be happy Halloween and when Everton have won an away game, then what can you with Hammers?
I don't know.
I don't know
what you're talking
I even just said Hammers then, like they're synonymous with Halloween.
Well,
I don't know what's up.
I think the hair's rise.
It's me hair.
I
need a haircut. Look at me here, like a bear's couch. And I've just had 2 swigs of this Dr. Pepper Zero, which I don't believe zero. I think it's got some kind of mad sugarness in it, so there you go. Great win for Everton, absolutely delighted. And we have Burnley on Wednesday in the Carabao Cup. That's next up for the Blues, so hopefully we can get a result there. We're going to carry on Toffee TV Premier now. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you have not, and if you want to become a Toffee TV Premier member, the link is in the description. There you go, Toffee TV Premier member. And the QR code's on the screen now. See you later.